Hey Thomas, how are you?
Jonathan, I am doing fantastic. How are you doing, sir?
Doing well, thanks.
Good, good. All right, listen, let's throw this out on the discussion table today for August 16th, Friday morning. So what do you got?
Why don't we talk about Trump and Harris um, and how people are feeling? We'll talk about the logic versus emotion. We'll talk about
Mhm.
being available for people to talk to versus, being not available.
Okay,
Taking a page out of Biden's playbook from his time when he was trying to get into presidency.
okay.
So why don't we talk about that for a second? Trump was just on the news. He had a press conference or a he was talking to reporters. That's what he was doing in New Jersey
Hmm.
yesterday, and he spoke. He spoke a lot about all of what he always talks about, and then it was interesting. I in mid flight I saw that the Harris um, someone from the Harris Twitter or Instagram they were kind of making fun of Trump about how he doesn't take questions from reporters. And
Hmm.
then instantly there was like hundreds, if not thousands, of people that commented right away saying he at least he's taking questions. He's been around. He comes every day, goes to the people, talks, takes questions from reporters, and at that time Harris has yet to done anything. Now I think
Okay,
Harris talked yesterday for a little bit. I heard.
okay,
Uh, yeah, I guess it was after Trump talked at a
okay.
different venue, but I just find it very interesting how everyone's just kind of attacking each other and not really working on the problems.
Hmm.
What is your policy? I think that's the biggest thing. If someone said I want to vote for Harris, I would love to say what do you love about her? Like what is the policies that you believe that she's going to be really good at?
And
And I
and
don't
what's
think
the
people
response? What's the response you're getting from people when you say that to them?
the only thing that people would say is that she's pro-abortion. She likes,
Okay.
she has that. I think that's what she's pushing for, right? She's pushing
Mhm.
that she's not like Trump. She does, all that, but
Mhm.
that's not enough. I mean, there's so many things at the table that need to be figured out, and no one has done anything quite like Trump's done. So I think that's
Mhm.
the big part of what we need to think about. Again,
Okay.
talk about logic, right? What's going to
Yep.
help us, the average person out there that isn't in the DC or isn't in government or isn't a billionaire? What's going to help the regular people out there?
Mhm.
And forget about what Trump looks like, what he says, personal attacks, any of that, because
Okay.
that's just his outside. That's what he's attacking people because people attack him, right? People are trying to put
Yeah.
Trump behind bars. People are suing Trump. They're doing all these things, but he's still moving ahead. He's still trying his best to take the next step.
I,
But
I personally, when it comes to Trump, listen, the guy's got thick skin beyond thick skin. Okay, everything as you just discussed. The Department of Justice have been weaponized against him. Okay, this is something. If they wanted to go charge him, they should have charged him 2 years ago. Why are they waiting? Before the election to do so?
exactly.
Because it's all strategic. Just in business, everything's a strategy. What you got to do. You know, when we look at things logically and emotionally, it's like a couple. Okay, anybody who's married there has a boyfriend, girlfriend. Okay, women usually are very emotional people. That's what they are. Okay. Men try to be logical when they're looking at a situation. All right. Now, you touched upon the abortion issue. That's a very emotional issue for women. All right. Um, I don't want to get into, where I stand with that right now. Okay. Because I don't want to take this platform to do that at this moment. We will. I have no issues about discussing that. But let's look at what's in front of us right now in this nation. One, we have the economy. Okay. Two, we have immigration. Three, we're at the brink of possibly World War III. Okay, that's no joke. A lot of people don't realize what's happening in international affairs right now. Well, they hear about the Ukraine, you hear about the Middle East. You know, Unfortunately, the United States always had to have our nose in everybody's business around the world. So we're going to be involved in it, especially when we're giving weapons to Ukraine and they use them against Russia. Okay. Guess what? We're involved in the war. Okay. It's our weapons. That's like me giving you a gun and you use it. And I know what you were going to use it for. I get implemented in that myself because, God forbid, you decide to use that against somebody. I'm going to be charged as well. Okay. Just like the U.S. giving weapons to Ukraine, they're going to be charged. You know, if you're going to think Kamala Harris, who came out with what a wonderful genius idea she came out with about, with the food prices, the government's going to control the food prices. Why has the government got involved themselves in everything? Okay, we're a free market. The reason why we have inflation is because the government's gotten out of control with printing way too much money. Okay, we have more than 40% circulation of money between Trump's last year and Biden's 3.5 years in circulation than in all, 230 years of U.S. history. That's the problem. Okay. Those just, 4 years, we got 40% more circulation of U.S. currency floating around versus 230 years. That's why you have inflation going crazy. Trump was in Asheville this week, and that's a huge liberal area in the North Carolina mountains. And he actually discussed about cutting energy 50 to 70%. He's coming out with plans. Will it be actually 50, 70%? I don't know about that. But can I see him cutting it 30 to 40%, across the board? Most definitely. I saw there in Newsday, the Long Island newspaper headline, that LIPA, or whatever the electric company is there, is raising the electrical rates $33 a month. And then they're going to go up $8 and change in 2025. And an additional, I think, $16 in 2026. Don't quote me on the last one. I don't recall exactly, but that's the numbers there. So who's paying for all this? The government's not paying for it. It's coming out of the, families' pockets. And again, something we spoke about last week, 40% of Americans don't know how they're paying their bills. Okay. Is Kamala coming up with the answers? Kamala, she's been in office the last 3.5 years. What's her track record? She was the border czar. What's happened? Okay. The border's out of control. Child trafficking, ladies and gentlemen, the United States is number one in child prostitution and in child trafficking. We're number one. Is that something we want to take a claim to? Absolutely not. Okay. Because I think that's a crime amongst crimes of all things, innocent children. And you know what? Guess what? Good old Joe Biden, the Democrats, they have opened the floodgates. They don't want to, close the floodgates. They want to keep them going. And this is hurting you, the taxpayers. All these people are being put up in hotels, the majority of them, not all of them, but the majority of them. They're saying it's about 10 to 12 million. It's 20 million plus that have been left in this country. A lot of them criminals from mental institutions, okay? And these aren't just people from Central America, South America, or Mexico. These are people coming in from China, Africa, okay, the Middle East. They're landing in Central America, and they're walking their way through. Why are they taking such an effort to do so? These are the things you have to think about logically, not emotionally, logically, okay? Who's going to fix this for us? Who's our best chance of fixing it logically? It's Trump. Look at Trump's track record for 4 years. Even though they were beating the shit out of him, trying to impeach him, okay? The guy still was doing a job. Now, if you let the guy have the reign for 4 years without bothering him and without trying to stop him, look how much more America could prosper. And that's the way you're looking at it. Your thoughts, Jonathan?
It truly is amazing how the most important thing for certain people is just going after Trump. It's not actually fixing problems, right? That's what we've seen since day one of him being in office. It wasn't about how can we, I mean, listen, both Republicans and Democrats at this time, and people, they just go after each other. There's no let's work together. At least I don't see it, right? From this point of view, it's very, very, interesting how like you used to see like the Republicans and Democrats would come together a little bit at least and try and get stuff happen and get stuff done. Whereas now it doesn't look like that they're doing that as much. It's either Republicans going after Democrats or Democrats going after Republicans, and there's no way that we can all flourish and do much better unless we all come together, go across the aisle, help each other out, get things, done. It just seems like everyone's just so set with what they want, and if they don't get what they want, they're going to do everything in their power to block you from doing it.
Oh,
So
most definitely.
if there ever was a way where people can just come together, do what's right, and think about the country. I mean, what's interesting is that we're letting in people into this country illegally that are coming from countries that have socialism and all these different types of governments that don't work well, and yet we're trying to do that here, right? Isn't that funny? Like they're trying to escape all
Without
that,
a doubt.
communist, all whatever it may be. They're leaving those countries and they're coming here for a better life, and yet the certain people think that it's we're going to put that type of environment in here, and it's not going to work.
You
Uh,
know what it is? If you ever looked at a mouse trap, okay, you always put cheese in the mouse trap. Why? Because that's going to get the mouse closer to the trap. That's exactly what Marxism is. They're laying out the cheese to get you a little bit closer, closer. They're just feeding you, and that's exactly what they're doing. Household incomes have dropped, since 2020. They dropped significantly. However, inflation's gone up. Well, you know what? Who actually helped um, household incomes rise 16 years higher than they ever were under his administration? Trump. Okay. That's what ended up happening. They've dropped so much, under Biden, but inflation's gone up tremendously. So you got to start scratching your head going, what's going on here? Again, we got to be logical. That again, people aren't thinking that, so I mean, your thoughts on that, Jonathan?
I mean, I think that the point is that people, you're right. I think if you went to 15 different metros and just asked them who do they want to vote for, who are they
Mm-hmm.
supporting, I think we would probably see it's pretty close to even, and that's what's very scary because if anything, I mean, I never was really a big Trump supporter, right? I never really, I think his reputation kind of made me not like him a lot. But to tell you the truth, all of what I've seen over the last 8 years has pushed me to him, and I like him because
Mm-hmm.
of what I've seen and because of how it looks. It's crystal clear what's going on. So anyone that really is paying attention, I think you can see what's happening. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say what it is. I want you to think for yourself. But it's it's a scary place because I have friends that as soon as I talk about politics, they shy away because they're Democrats,
Mm-hmm.
and I would just love to know like why do you think that they're going to be the best thing for us? Um, because I just don't see it. I don't understand it,
Yeah.
and I don't want to be one of those people that pushes people into believing what I believe in. Because let them think how they want. But all I say,
Yeah.
and I say it a lot of times, do your own research. Don't look at CNN. Don't look at Fox. Don't look at Newsmax. Look at what actual, their track record. What have they done? How have they helped people? Don't listen to, certain people out there. Don't even listen to the people themselves, because everyone is just going to tell you whatever they want you to hear, and
Oh,
that's really the point that I think everyone misses. No one knows what anyone stands for, but if you just look at what Trump did in the 4 years that he was there, and you listen, take the COVID thing out, that was not something that anyone could control. The entire world fell apart, right? So
mhm.
everyone wants to blame Trump. He didn't do this. He did what he could with what he had, and then by the time he left office, there was vaccines, there was, all types of therapeutics they were talking about. So he did a decent job with what he knew. Did he say
Mhm.
things that he probably should not have said? Did he kind of believe that it wasn't as serious as it was? Probably, but I think most people use that against them. They use that and January 6th. Those are the two things that they always say.
Oh, they do. Listen, the COVID thing, it's funny after things have happened and then you start seeing the truth come out. It's the old adage, give time, truth will come out. COVID was all engineered. It was the powers that be that did that. All right. And there's proof of that. As far as the stimulus money, because Trump did put a lot of stimulus money in. Again, the reason for printing a lot of currency. A lot of businesses and individuals got that stimulus money because of COVID. I wasn't a proponent of that. I think that was very bad. I made sure our business, we were still profitable. We did not take any money from the government. Okay. Meanwhile, companies like Amazon, Walmart, the big corporations, they flourished in taking that money. They had no problem doing that.
Yeah.
I think that money should have been given more to the small businesses. If you're a publicly held company, meaning on the stock market, you need money, go sell your stock. Okay. Don't ask money from the government. That's where I had issues with that. But I want to rewind and go back to something you had said earlier about, politics, meaning Democrats, Republicans working across the aisle with one another. Back in the 80s, you had Ronald Reagan and you had a guy named Tip O'Neill. Okay. Tip O'Neill was Speaker of the House. And you can actually research this. There's even a couple of documentaries. Reagan and Tip O'Neill may not have agreed on a lot of things, but they got things done. Okay. They knew how to work. Sometimes it took a bottle of Johnny Walker between them to make it happen, but that's okay. All right. There's a lot of great deals that are done over alcohol. All right. During the 90s, you had Bill Clinton. But then again, who was the liaison there? Was Newt Gingrich. Again, things got done. All right. But since then, for the last almost 25 years, there's nothing being done across the aisle. It's one ideology versus another ideology. Who's getting hurt? We, the people of America, Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, we're getting hurt over that. And because you know what? This is actually, again, being engineered. We have to look at this logically. Look at the facts. Always look at the facts. And that's what you have to do. Stop being emotional. Don't be, taking one party to another. My dad's side of the family, they're very, very liberal. They're Marxists, and they don't realize they're Marxists. They just think they're liberal Democrats. No, you're Marxist because of the way you're jumping on this bandwagon. And it causes a lot of conflict because, again, me being me, I bring the facts to the table. I'm not pulling things out of my ass like I'm Houdini and like, hey, look what I got, I'm just being factual, and that's what I'm doing. And they don't like that. They hate that. And if they hate that, they hate you and they want to ostracize you. Your thoughts, Jonathan?
I feel like that's a big part of everyone, left and right, Democrat, Republican, whoever they may mean. Even if you like Trump, come with facts, come with information. And if you don't, then you just like them for the wrong reasons. But it's interesting because I do similar things where I'll ask questions, not because I'm trying to pry or do anything. I just want to know, like, I'm curious, like, why do you like Trump? Why do you like, Biden? Why do you like Harris? Whoever it may be. And a lot of I would say 9 out of 10 times they can't give me a real reason why they like them, don't like them, what they did. And I've watched some of these funny skits where people will go and they'll put Trump's policies and they'll just say, oh, that was a Biden policy. What do you think about that? And they'll say, oh, I loved it. It was great. And then they say, actually, we were just kidding. It's not actually Biden. It was a Trump policy. And then they don't know what they're doing. Like, oh, yeah, yeah, I guess it was okay. So people just like who they want to like, and they don't really look at the reason behind it. And that to me is the biggest problem. And I mean, the whole point about working together is that I see, like, if it's something they don't like, one side or the other, they just block it for the next 3, 4, 2 years, whatever it may be, until the next term is, rather than trying to come together and figure out how to make it work, how to compromise. It's like everyone's becoming like big little kids. If they don't get their way, it's not going to happen, right? So that for us people, the people, that has to be a problem because we need solutions. We don't need big children that are just telling them whatever they want to do, and if they don't get what they want, they're going to stomp their feet and
Yeah.
talk bad about everyone and wait until the next presidency. It's
Yeah.
We need better. We deserve better.
Oh, 100%. And you know what? Like I said before, it's been a good 25 years since the people of America have been able to benefit from things within our government. We haven't. We're being sold out, and that's the problem. You know what? I'm sorry?
I was going to say, I think for businesses, relating this to businesses, I think what we've seen over the last, 5, 10, 15 years is that little by little, they don't notice it at first, but little by little, things are, coming up and they're influencing and affecting their business. And unless we start looking carefully, we're not gonna have a way to get back to where we were.
Oh, yeah, yeah. We're coming to a situation in our country. We're almost at the point of no return, meaning the point of returning to the republic that we should be. Okay. And you're absolutely 100% correct, Jonathan. Listen, what we're going to do every Friday, we're going to have a segment, and it's going to basically be logic versus emotions, and it's going to be based on what's happening with this campaign. So, that's what we're going to do. This is round one. So each week we're going to, do a round 2, round 3, etc., all the way up until the election. So I just want to let that be known to our viewers out there, so you can share it, and hopefully this will help grow our tribe out there of followers. Listen, hopefully we did creating knowledge for you. We ask you to hit that thumbs up, hit that like button, and subscribe if you haven't. Listen, you guys have a great week. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye.